I didn't expect you to be able to afford such a place. Great job, dear. We don't mind moving in here with you. I was puzzled at my mother-in-law's words. Excuse me? With this, I don't mind not divorcing you. I'm single now, you know? My name is Lucy, 35 years old. I'm a doctor at a women's health clinic. I live 15 minutes drive away from my workplace in a nice apartment complex, where I live with my husband William and his parents. I married William 5 years ago. At that time, he told me, "If we get married, we'll have to live with my parents. I'm an only child, and I have to take care of them." I knew from the time I was dating William that he was an only child, and I was prepared to live with that, so I replied, "Of course, that's not a problem." So, when I married William, we rented a slightly larger apartment and started living with his parents. When we first started living together, his parents told me, "You're a doctor, Lucy. It must be busy, right? Your father-in-law and I will take care of the household chores and the other things. Just focus on your work." They took care of all the cooking, cleaning, and other chores. Thanks to that, I was able to concentrate on my work. I thought the same was true for William. But half a year later, that drastically changed. Suddenly, William quit his job. Startled, I asked him, "What happened? Why did you quit?" Then, William said, "Well, I think I've done enough. I want to quit here to take a break, and then start again. Plus, even if I quit, we won't have trouble making ends meet with your earnings." Why would you do something like this without discussing it with me? You can't guarantee that you'll find another job, right? What if something happens to me? "There's no point in saying things like that. We have savings, so we'll be fine." Fine, but then the one who stepped into the conversation was my mother-in-law. "Now, don't be so hard on him, Lucy. William has been working hard so far, so he deserves a little break, don't you think? All you have to do is make up for his absence by working harder." Her words left me speechless. I had also been working hard, and how on earth was it fair to suggest that I should work even harder while William took a break? That's ridiculous. It's not like William was the only one having a tough time. At my words, my mother-in-law's face changed. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows and said, "Now, let me tell you something, Lucy. You're not the only one who has it tough. While you were at work, your father-in-law and I were taking care of the house. You were also working. That, too, without any breaks. If you're going to talk like that, we'll stop doing all the household chores. You can manage on your own from now on." What? Leaving me stunned, my mother-in-law and William left the room to watch TV in the living room. From that day on, I was left alone to handle the household chores and my job. No one else would do them. My in-laws often ordered takeout for meals, perhaps because they'd get hungry if they didn't prepare anything. And they would often order expensive dishes like sushi and soon started demanding me to leave more money for food expenses. "Lucy, please, leave enough money for us to eat. Do you want us to starve? Please try to cut down on the food expenses." Even when I asked them to cut down on the food expenses, my mother-in-law would retort, "How cruel of you to ask us to cut down on food expenses while we're staying home without any luxuries. Learn to take care of your in-laws." "I didn't know you were such a cold person. Maybe we should get a divorce," he said. I was so fed up that I started leaving more money for food, and my in-laws and William lived a life of eating whatever they wanted. One day, during my work break, I went to a gas station near my hospital to do some quick shopping. When I was about to pay at the counter, I realized I didn't have my card. It also seemed like there was less money in my wallet. For a moment, I was puzzled, and then I rushed home immediately after work. When I got home and rushed into the living room, there was a brand new large television. "Oh, welcome back, Lucy. You're early today." "Why are you in such a rush?" "Oh, Lucy, isn't it nice?" All three of them had malicious smiles on their faces. "What is this? How did you afford this?" "We had savings, obviously." "Savings?" That's when my mother-in-law spoke up. "Oh, Lucy, we didn't know you were saving so much for us. You should have told us earlier if you're going to be such a dutiful daughter-in-law. Now we can buy a lot more things. You finally proved yourself useful as a daughter-in-law." I found my card on the table. "My card? So, did you use my savings? But how did you get the PIN?" "It's not hard to figure it out. It's only natural. We're married after all." My mother-in-law looked pleased, said, "Oh, you really do love William. using his birthday as the pin. Honestly, I thought you didn't care about him at all, but you've proved me wrong. But it's not that I set the pin thinking of William. I just hadn't changed it since we got married. There's no way I could love William as he is now. Then, my mother-in-law and William, getting carried away, said, "Well, you haven't acted right as a daughter-in-law so far, so there's no point in making a fuss about this. The only way you can honor us is with money. Just quietly hand over your savings to us. From now on, please hand over $4,000 a month. From now on, don't squirrel away your money behind our backs. Make sure to give us our fair share," William had the audacity to add. Infuriated by their brazenness, I retorted, "This isn't a joke. Why should the money I earned go to your pocket money? If you want money so badly, work for it. This goes for you, mother-in-law and father-in-law too. Please have some decency and think about the household finances before you try to extort my money." Stunned, the three of them fell silent for a moment, but it didn't take long for my in-laws to snap back. "What an insolent daughter-in-law you are! Is that how you address your mother-in-law? We can't sense any gratitude. We don't need a daughter-in-law like you for anything other than money." "What an audacious remark from a daughter-in-law whose only worth is her money! There's a limit to disrespect," fumed my father-in-law. "Enough of your nonsense," William yelled and went to his room. I thought he had gone for good, but he came back to the living room holding a piece of paper which he thrust at me. "I have something for you." It was a divorce paper. What's more, William's name, as well as my in-laws' names, were duly filled in the witness section. "Go ahead. File it if you dare. But you will have to move out of this condo. I can't be living with a stranger, you see." Unlike his wife, William is competent. "Lucy, we can forgive your rudeness as a slip of the tongue now. But from now on, if you talk back to us even once, we'll really have William divorce you." The three laughed their souls out. The sight got my blood boiled with anger. But so did an equal measure of joy. But it's too early to get back at them. Suppressing my urge to leap for joy, I said, "Well, I'll start moving out some of my stuff and other essentials," and headed for my room. My in-laws and William looked puzzled. Did they think I would apologize out of desperation if they mentioned divorce? What a naive thought. The divorce papers even had a signature on them. I quickly packed up my valuables and said, "I'll be leaving now. Please don't come to me even if you are in trouble." With that, I left my condo. Of course, taking the divorce papers with me. I stayed at a nearby business hotel that night. I canceled the card William had used online. When I checked my balance, the card, which once had over $10,000, only had $3,000 left. I really wondered what they had spent so much money on. My savings are not limited to that account. Just in case, I have ample savings in 2 other accounts as well. While it hurt to have $7,000 spent, I thought it was inevitable if it meant cutting ties with that family. And the next day, I went to the city office first thing in the morning and filed the divorce papers. The divorce papers were accepted, and when I checked my family register certificate just to be sure, I was indeed divorced. Finally, I had cut ties with that mother and son. While I wanted to jump out of joy, there were still things that needed to be done. I went to a real estate agency and took care of 2 matters. One of them was buying a house for myself using the money I had saved over the years. Through this experience, I truly understood the importance of living my own life freely. I never knew when or how that freedom might be taken away. I realized how important it was to take immediate action when I wanted to do something. So, I bought a new, single-story house, with its spacious living room, a practical system kitchen, and a walk-in closet. Everything was mine. I bought all the furniture that day and moved what I could into the house. The next 3 days were spent shopping. While it was hard to get everything I needed, it was the most fun I'd had in a long time. Replacing everything with new items required a substantial amount of money, but I thought it was a worthy expense for a new start. A few days later, around 8 p.m., my doorbell rang. I was in the middle of dinner and wondered who could be calling at this time. When I checked the intercom, there stood William, my former mother-in-law, and my former father-in-law, a sight that was almost nostalgic. I knew they'd come. With that, I went to the door and opened it. William immediately confronted me with great force. "Hey, what the hell are you thinking? Moving out without telling anyone is crazy." At that, my former in-laws tried to calm him down. "William, calm down. We said we would complain after we've calmed down. Remember, right, dear?" "That's right. Look, isn't it a good house? It looks more spacious and comfortable than our current condo." As they said this, the three of them barged into my house without permission. Wait a minute. Don't just barge into my place. I tried to stop them, but shut up. This is our house. What's wrong with us coming in? With that, the three of them went ahead and entered my house. The furniture is not to my taste, but the overall build is decent. I admit, it might be more comfortable than our current condo. I didn't expect you to be able to afford such a place. Great job, dear. We don't mind moving in here with you. Excuse me? We're telling you that we approve this condo. That we'll live here with you. We might even forgive your previous impotence. You're pretty low level as a daughter-in-law, but we could appreciate your thoughtfulness of preparing this place for us. I wonder if William would be satisfied with this. I guess I can forgive this. I don't mind staying married to you if we can live here. Excuse me? Who's your wife? And who's not getting divorced? Unsure of my question's intent, the three exchanged glances. I'm not married, you know. I'm single. Silence filled the room. Rather than being stunned, the three seemed to not understand the meaning of my words. Huh? What nonsense are you spouting? You think you can get away with all the disrespect you showed us? I shoved the divorce certificate right into William's stunned face. His and my in-laws' faces changed color upon seeing it. Lucy, how dare you do such a thing without consulting us? Do you think you'll be forgiven? Yep, I did. You gave it to me for that purpose, didn't you? Lucy, how dare you do such a thing without consulting us? Do you think you'll be forgiven? What do you mean forgiven? Your names were also clearly written on that divorce notice, weren't they? Writing your names there means you've made a decision, right? You were the ones who prepared the divorce papers in the first place, weren't you? William clearly told me to file it if I could, so I did. What's the problem? At that, the three kept their mouths shut, with red faces. I decided to press further. By the way, you're the ones who kicked me out. You seem to have forgotten, but the condo you guys live in right now is under my name. Now that we're strangers, I have no need to keep that contract, so I've canceled it. If you don't leave within a week, you guys will be evicted out of that place. You... Their fiery red faces quickly turned pale, and then I launched my final attack. I held my phone and made a call. Oh, hello, I'm sorry, but there are 3 people who forced their way into my house. Yes, I have trespassers here. Please come immediately. The address is... I had called the police. Everything was perfect. Don't think you'll get away with this. What a daughter-in-law. I can't believe you go so far as to call the police on your family. Remember this. How disrespectful of you. Each spat their parting words and fled from the house. And yet, I've been saying that I'm single. And so, my battle finally came to an end. I thought that those 3 would launch an attack at the hospital where I worked, but surprisingly, they never showed up. They seemed to have stubbornly stayed in the apartment even after the termination notice period of a week. And once I received a call from the real estate agent, however, I told them, those people are complete strangers to me, so it seems they were charged with trespassing and taken care of by the police. Afterwards, each of them was fined $1,000, but to no one's surprise, they didn't have such money. A relative from the countryside paid on their behalf, and apparently they were all forcibly taken to the countryside. By now, they are probably helping out on a farm for free at the relative's house. As for me, everything is going smoothly. My new life is so comfortable since I'd completely forgotten how wonderful living alone could be. Having been away from living for myself rather than anyone else for a long time, each day feels fresh. From now on, I plan to enjoy each day to its fullest, in order to make the most of my life.